I'll be speaking about the Chikuhodo Z series tonight. This is the most expensive line from Chikuhodo. I don't own the entire line as I've gotten rid of some and have similar ones from the Lumiere set. They mainly consist of gray scroll hair except for the lip and eyebrow brushes. And scroll hairs are recommended for those with dry and sensitive skin. Oily and combination skin should proceed with caution while using swirl brushes. You only want to use swirl brushes after you've powdered all the areas of your face, otherwise the hair will drag from the tackiness of the product on your face and become stuck together. As a result, you have to wash them more, and this will damage the hairs, as scroll hair is not supposed to be washed that often. For scroll hairs, you only want to wash them once to twice a year, and all other times after using them, gently wipe them down on a Kleenex or a microfiber towel. I love using microfiber towels because using Kleenex just wastes a lot of paper. And the scroll hair in this series are all incredibly soft. CD Japan rates the softness as a 9 out of 10. The handles are lacquered wood. I'm a really big fan of the glossy black handles. It's black on black, and the ferrule tip right here is curved inwards, so I'm a big fan of the handle design. It looks very sleek and classic. So I'm going to introduce you to the Z1, which is this one on the left here. It's an incredibly dense gray scroll powder and finishing brush. Right here. Yes, this is also another one I've spoken about in one of my powder brush videos. The scroll hair, since scroll hair is a lot thinner and finer than goat and other hair types, there needs to be a large amount of scroll hair to bundle a brush of this density. I don't think you can really understand how dense it is until you actually get to see it in person and just feel it and touch it. It's a round brush that has a good amount of flexibility, although not too flexible because that would render it floppy. It's nowhere as floppy as some other finishing brushes like the Chikuhodo Gray Scroll powder brush with the red handle. That one has a lot less hair, and I think the hairs might be a little bit longer, so less hair makes it more floppy. This is my favorite finishing brush to use with Hourglass ambient lighting powders, as I've previously mentioned, and it buffs everything together seamlessly. If you like dense brushes, I highly recommend this one. Z1 is one of my favorite powder brushes or finishing brushes. So next up is the Z2, which is right here. This is a candlestick shaped highlight brush. It's tapered like a tulip, candlestick, whatever you want to call it. This can also be used for contour, blush, and setting mineral concealer. It gives a subtle finish for whatever type of product you use it with. I would just say that that's what it is for all the scroll brushes. It's a subtle finish. And honestly, I don't really touch mine because I prefer goat for highlight, but this is a nice brush to have. I know people who really love this brush. And yeah, it all just depends on your preferences. So let me show you just how flexible this is. So it has more flex. If you use at the tip here, it has more flex, but if you push it down from the bottom right here, it has less. It just depends where you push it in. And next up is the Z3, which I do not own. It's a densely packed flat top contour brush. I don't own this one as the head is quite small. It's smaller than the Takumi T3, and I don't like contouring with round brushes. It looks like there's very little flex with this brush because it's a flat top, and the hairs are short and dense, and I actually think it would make a good contour brush for people who tend to go heavy handed with their contour, as scroll hair will apply with a more diffuse finish and pick up less product. Next we have the Z4, which is right here. Let me just focus this. And this is a flat blush brush, so you can see on the sides and flattened oval. This has a good amount of hairs in it as well. It's dense enough for my liking, as I tend to like denser brushes. Let me just show you this. And I actually didn't like this when I first got it because I didn't have any highly pigmented blushes. I only had light to medium. Excuse me. And I recently did pick up some highly pigmented blushes, so it does work very well with them. The brush pairs nicely with soft press formulas like Addiction by Ayako, Surat, Clé de Peau, Hourglass, NARS, just soft press formulas. And you can also use it for targeted powdering as well. Many people actually compare it with the Chikuhodo, which, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me because the shapes are nothing alike. The shapes are nothing alike in my opinion. The Chikuhodo is more flat, flared out with less hair and has a more rounded ferrule. I think that ferrule is, I don't own the Chikuhodo anymore, but from what I can recall, it was a lot more rounded. It was either a completely rounded ferrule or like a more oval shaped ferrule, but it's definitely more rounded. And so since the Z4 is a flattened oval ferrule, it's not going to be used the same way as the Chikuhodo is. The Chikuhodo would be used perpendicularly to your face. So let's pretend that this is the Chikuhodo right now. So I would actually use it like this, like a pom-pom brush on my face to apply product. But for the Z4, it's flat, so I would have to, I mean, I don't have to, but I would use it like this, like how the Fude masters or the makeup artists in Japan would use it, because it's a flat shape brush, and that's the intended purpose for the flat shape brushes. I mean, you can also definitely use it perpendicularly, but then that would be more for contour than blush. So I think it would actually be harder to use perpendicularly if I went like this. And I personally would not contour with the Z4. Let's see, next up is the Z5. I have the 2015 Christmas set Lumiere version, which is 2 millimeters longer than the Z5. So I think I do not know the metric system, so maybe it's like this much longer? I don't know. But yeah, 2 millimeters. This is the most similar brush I have to the Z5, and I love this for applying a subtle wash of eyeshadow all over the lids and blending, since the brush is dense enough. Some Grace Girl flat eyeshadow brushes, like the Chikuhodo Grace Girl one with the red handle that I have, aren't dense enough to blend, and I usually don't like to blend with flat shapes, but this one's an exception because it's so dense, and I have spoken about this one in a previous video as well. Next up we have the Z6 and the Z7. So I don't own those either. The Z6 is the eyebrow brush made out of raccoon, which is tanuki. Yeah, I don't own this because you already know how I feel about like eyebrow Fude, and although it does look like it's large enough to apply brow products quickly, like it looks pretty wide. And then the Z7 is a flat lip brush made out of weasel. I'm not into lip brushes, so that's why I don't own it, but let's go on to the Z8, which is right here. The Z8 is a flat blush brush that's basically a larger version of the Z4. So as you can see on the side, it's also in a flattened oval shape, and let's compare them. It's denser, excuse me, and I also didn't like this brush when I first got it because I thought it applied blush like patchy, but now I've come to use it as a small finishing brush, and I'll give it another try with blush soon enough now that I have highly pigmented ones. But I will just show you here the flexibility, the side, the top, back, and then we have the Z9. I have the Lumiere version, and once again, this is a flattened oval powder brush, and the Lumiere version has the same specs as the Z9. This is another great brush for hourglass finishing powders as it fits into the product very nicely. I highly recommend the Z9. I love this a lot as well. And if you have dry and sensitive skin, then by all means use the powder brushes, or use these two brushes for powder. Like, you don't have to use them as finishing brushes, because especially for dry skin, like your makeup products would be able to, and your skin would be able to handle it. Yeah, I love this brush a lot. As you can see here. Sorry, it's late. It's like really late at night, so I sound pretty out of it. Okay, so the last brush in the line is the Z9, or Z10, sorry. The Z10, and it is a very tapered pencil brush. It's very, very sharp at the tip. And I used to own it, and I thought I liked it, but then I discovered that it didn't apply the outer V color precisely. It was kind of like, the color just kind of just got everywhere, and it wasn't up to par with my outer V standards, so I got rid of that as well. And yeah, I think that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.